Welcome, everyone, to Season 1, Episode 5 of Breath of Fresh Career. I'm Justin Kane. I'm joined today by a good friend of mine, Stephen Griffin. I'm going to butcher the name of his company, but Stephen is a technology account executive for a company by the name of Infutor Data Solutions. His father, actually, I just got to meet one of his sons, father of two boys. He's a great husband, and I'll tell you something about this guy. This guy raced professionally. He had a D1 scholarship in cycling for bike racing his bicycle. He will literally tear the legs off you. So if you meet Stephen on the road in Illinois, the best thing you can do is just hold on to that back wheel. He's also a member of the Executives Club of Chicago. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Want to introduce Stephen here, and let's break the ice, man. Tell me what you've been doing during this worldwide pandemic. What's been different for you and the family?
Hey, I appreciate that that awesome warm welcome. So you're always too kind, Justin.
The way it's gotta be.
Yeah, it's exciting to be a part of your show, man. I'm excited for you. So this is awesome, man. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're leveling up, man.
I'm trying to give something back if we possibly can. There's a lot of people out there that are going to learn from it in a bunch of different respects, right? From being an up and coming, hard working account executive at a data technology company to being a very successful African-American in the technology sector. And tell me what's been new for you during this pandemic.
Yeah. Like you said, during that kind intro, I just been doing a lot of long bike rides. Obviously there's no racing this season. So I've just, cranking out the miles, week in and week out, probably overtraining a little bit, early mornings, but it makes me feel good. It kind of soothes my soul when I'm out there with the wind blowing in my face and on the road. And then, I have an amazing wife and two kids, 5th and 6th graders. So, all things said, I know with the pandemic, it's affecting the entire world, but quarantine's kind of slowed things down for myself and my family. Through all the bad that's happening, is kind of like a shining light where we're really just getting an opportunity to spend more time with each other. It's brought my family closer together. There's all these great moments that are happening day after day that I'm not missing out on, and I'm allowing to see like the growth and development of my kids, and we're learning things about each other. So I know globally, it's really affected the world, and it's affected different economies and business. But specifically in my household, it's just really it's brought us very, very close. So you gotta sometimes look at the good light with all the bad things that are happening.
Yeah, man, I agree 100%. I pretty much kick off every show with that question, right? And and undoubtedly everybody's talking about that. Families are going on walks together for like the first time, like having the ability and time to go for walks. People are working from home for the most part, right? So they're not rushing home, throwing their bag on the table, starting dinner. It's just a little bit of a different pace. And you know what, man, it's really the pace that we need here.
Mm-hmm.
People are working real hard, man. I mean, I'm putting in hours. I mean, we're talking right now on a Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're putting in the hours, the time, you're putting in the miles, literally, to be successful, not only at Infutor, but as a father, as a husband, and as a cyclist. So, hey, let me ask you this one, because, the feedback I've been getting is that this is phenomenal. It's really great for technology executives because they know about data technology. But do me a favor, man. Let's just pretend like we met at a barbecue and I was like, what is Infutor? Tell me what it is in your own words, if you can.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, Infutor.
Oh, there you go. I told you I was going to. Infutor. I'm going to mess it up.
Infutor, it's an awesome company, and this is data. It's an awesome space to be in. Give you just a little bit of the 60-second cliff notes. We're experts in consumer identity management. So I like to say we're the data that's behind the curtains. And what I mean when I say that, there's a lot of large information services, big corporate data corporations throughout the US that you're familiar with already. We have always been kind of the foundation of data assets for those large information service companies. So they kind of repackage or resell our data. We are original source compilers. So they are also like great partners for us because we're able to provide that DNA to help them be successful. But then we also work with brands and enterprises direct, C-level marketing teams. And really what it comes down to is making sure that these brands can more efficiently acquire customers more than they ever have in the past. So we're connecting the dots on the consumer side, making sure that we can create that one-to-one engagement with whatever type of program or campaign that they're looking for. And there's a lot of consumer insights that come along with that as well too. So that's it in a nutshell.
Is this like opt-in consumer data, or how are you guys?
Yep.
Okay. So
yep.
As a
it's
consumer,
opt-in, TCPA compliant, all the rules and regulations that come along with that as well too for the US. Yep.
Okay. So just let me dive a little bit further into that. So let's say I'm a consumer, and I'm interested in REI or, a major brand. I don't know, LL Bean. Tell me how the data that you guys possess on me as a consumer could influence an LL Bean or myself personally as a consumer.
Yeah. So when you're looking at a large enterprise company, like let's just say I'm going to make up this client, Kane Sports, your company.
Okay.
And they may already have a data lake or a database of some point of who they think their consumer is, or they could have, consumer history from, things change, month after month, year after year. So it costs a lot of money to run in an effective digital campaign, or even if they're doing a direct mail campaign or, whatever type of campaign it is. What we'll do is we'll assist with appending that information and, cleansing that data to make sure that number one, they're reaching the right consumers for the product that they're trying to push. And then number two, they have the right information and the right point of contact to come full circle. So we're completing the data and making sure that it's going out to the right market per se.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So cleaner, more concise data, consumer level data. Right. Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So you're an AE, you're an account executive over there.
Yep.
And you've been an account executive at other companies like LotLinks and Captivate. Mm-hmm. How'd you get your start? How'd you get your start in tech and data tech and, enterprise software, et cetera?
So that's a funny story. Many moons ago when I graduated college, we'll let the audience do the fact checking and figure out when I graduated. I'm not going to, put that year out there, but I wanted nothing to do with sales. I wanted to just do, something, I don't know, customer service, marketing, but I did not want to be in sales. The economy was not great at that time. And being a college student with zero experience, there were only entry-level sales jobs that were plentiful. And that's pretty much, I kind of just fell into a sales role at that point. And I've never stopped over, the past, 15 plus years. I've just been going in sales. And I kind of found out a hidden talent and a skill that I had of connecting with people. And then, that's something that I had in me, and it just came out when I was interviewing for, my first job without any experience.
So when you got into sales, kind of entry level position, right? You hear this story a lot. You gotta work your way up, man. It's just like racing bikes. You got to start at Cat 5.
Yes.
You got to put in the miles. You got to build the base. You got to get to Cat 4. You got to build the base, different level, Cat 3, et cetera. Did you start in technology or what were you selling, I guess? And then if it wasn't like a specific technology like Infutor, how did you break into tech? A lot of what I'm doing is talking about tech, technology,
Yep.
and a lot of people are like, hey, how do I get my start in technology? Blah blah
Yep.
blah. So like,
I started, I'll connect the dots for you. I started at a company that was manufacturing bar stools and like restaurant style chairs on the west side of Chicago in a factory in a bad neighborhood. And I had to take this bus from my nice neighborhood to this bad neighborhood every day. And I was selling to restaurant distributors.
yep.
And then that same product, that same bar stool and chair, I was also selling to the consumer product world, retail, Target, Williams Sonoma, all the big retailers. And there was an upcharge because it was just going into an upscale catalog or going to be on the floor at Williams Sonoma or Crate and Barrel. And I did that for a few years and kind of learned what it was like to be on the phones, cold calling, and dealing with rejection and prospecting, and all the bumps and bruises. I fell down and scraped my knees so many times and scraped my elbows and Band-Aids all over. But I really learned how to navigate as a good sales executive. Then from there, I moved into advertising, and I had a really, really long stint in advertising, leading up to close to 15 years.
Wow.
That's really my background, and my foundation is where I was able to smooth out my sales skills. And I still love it to this degree, but I made a change and set a goal about 5 or 6 years ago that I wanted to move into tech, because there's somewhat of a ceiling on advertising. It's not growing. It's a fun medium for outdoor advertising, billboards and transit ads on the bus and the train and street furniture, and it's cool and it's funky, but there's not a lot of growth. Everything is digital in this age, especially in this pandemic that we're in now.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's online meetings and data and things that are powering up different types of apps and tech companies. So I knew that the market had changed and that it was going to continue to grow. So being in tech is always going to be growing. Even when we're long gone, tech is going to continue to grow. And whether it's a phone system or computers. So what I did is I went into a form of advertising, which was powered by tech, which was a Captivate, which were the screens that were in the elevators.
Elevators, yep.
Yeah, the building lobbies. So you go up in those elevators in any major market in a high rise, and you see that screen. Then there's also a mobile component to where the buildings are geofenced, and you're gaining a mobile ad ID as well too.
Wow.
And there's some of those same campaigns that are up in the elevators are also delivered to a smartphone within a radius around the building as well too. And that's really how I was able to kind of sneak and get my foot in the door with tech. I'll tell you, of all the bumps and bruises throughout my career over that time span, the transition from being in advertising for so many years and then moving into tech was probably tougher than any sales call or any career challenge that I ever did, because no one in tech really wants to hire someone who doesn't have experience with tech or with SaaS sales and skills. So I really had to do some soul searching and kind of educate myself on how to make that transition.
So I'm talking to a guy right now that was able to jump the trench. He got to the other side of the tracks, man. And
it's not an easy jump, I would tell you that.
No, I know. As a recruiter, man, it's like, I'll talk to client companies and they'll straight up be like, listen, I don't want anybody with a media background. And but there are media technologies, right? There are platforms that essentially deliver media. And
I use the media technology as a transition and a stepping stone to move fully into tech and kind of learn some of that language. But it's funny, and it as a recruiter and dealing with the process of fulfilling some of these roles. Some companies will rather burn and churn through 20 bad employees that have a tech history than to give someone a shot who's a good person and can succeed, that does not have a tech background. So that's what made it challenging for me, getting over that fence.
Yeah. Makes total sense. I always, I say this on almost every single podcast. You can't live your life looking in the rearview mirror, man. You got to look through the windshield, right? That's why the windshields, literally like, 20 times larger than that rear view mirror. We learn a lot as we grow, as we live. What do you wish you had known, as when you got your start? Like, what do you wish you had known when you started in this business?
Well, first I'll say, if I erase all my mistakes and mishaps along the way, I wouldn't have the wisdom that I have now.
Oh,
and that experience. I know.
Eat.
Zinger for you, right?
Oh, wisdom.
Now, to not dodge your question, I think I wish I knew earlier in my career and how to transition from the hustle mentality to the partner mentality. And that's also a little bit of a deep, you're probably wondering, what the heck does that mean? We're around the same age, and we kind of have a little bit of the same background, and, come up around the same times. And the hustle mentality is, across all cultures, no matter who you talk to, whatever your background and where you were raised, executives of our age that are cut from our cloth, it's go, go, go. There's no wall you can't go through. There's not any challenge you can't overcome. And you gotta, no matter what it takes, you have to make it happen. And then that's also what makes a good salesperson as well too. You have to be able to deal with rejection and make that adjustment. But you're going 100 miles an hour, over the speed limit, 24/7, day after day.
Yeah.
And that's a good quality. That's good. We need that. And we see a lot less of that with the current generation. They don't have that hustle mentality. So when I say moving from the hustle mentality to the partner mentality, I don't mean that I'm not working hard anymore. But as I got older and longer in my sales career, I start to learn to be a really good listener. And this is something that you don't hear from a lot of salespeople, because they talk so much because they're constantly trying to close a deal. When I learned to ask the right questions to a client, I become a good listener, and they open up. When that client shares with me their needs and, different challenges and things that they're looking for, I develop solutions on the spot. When I'm able to develop that solution, I become a partner. So any product or service or platform that I'm selling, it's no longer an investment for that company. It's an enhancement. And when something's an enhancement, then that means that they know it's a proven track record that this is going to help them grow their sales team, or grow their revenue, or grow their product, or grow their client base. So there's a difference between an enhancement and an investment, just like there's a difference between hustling and learning to be a partner. So what I did is I merged the two together. I still work hard day in and day out, but I also wake up in the morning and go through and think of, okay, as I have these meetings or as I'm working with these clients, how do I let them know that we're going to become a partner, which means that the product that we have is going to be an enhancement.
Yep.
So then the price tag is, off the table. They're able to see, hey, Stephen is really helping us, and this is actually going to help us grow. I just gave you a jewel there. I don't know if I need you to edit this out though, because
that's some magic.
That's a little secret, right?
That's some magic, buddy. That's some magic. That's some magic.
Now I'm thinking, should I have even said that?
No, you know what? It's good stuff.
I'm just joking with you.
No, I know. Especially for our young listeners, man. When we're in sales, we're so driven by like looking at that number. And here's the deal. I worked for another recruiting firm, at one point in time. And that's I owe it to them it's how I got my start. But man, it was crazy, right? It was numbers. You had daily numbers, weekly numbers, monthly numbers.
I know it.
Numbers. And you're not. And as a recruiter, especially because you're dealing with people, you're kind of forced to not do the right thing, right? You're forced to kind of like sell and push. And you don't really, God gave us 2 ears and one mouth, man. We got to use them accordingly, right? So just like you said, you got to listen twice and talk once. But I think that for our younger listeners out there, or less experienced sales folks, or people that are just looking to get into it, man, if you can approach a client, a customer, and not always try to be perceived as selling, but helping, enabling, propelling, is another word that I like to use. You got to help propel that customer.
Yes.
That's huge, man. That is magic. It's absolutely magic. You know,
It's yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you talk about drive. You talk about drive
Yeah.
that folks like we have, you know, I mean, dude, we've known each other for a long time and we're wired the same way. You know what I mean? It's
and that's the hustle mentality. Like, you have to have that.
Totally.
You know?
Let me ask you a question. Division I college cyclist, full scholarship. Did that drive, did that hustle, do you think athletics played into that?
Yeah, that played into it a lot of my career. As far as my drive in business, are you asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, funny story, you know, I started racing. My dad got me on my first racing bike and when I was 8. And I started racing, you know, as a junior cyclist when I was 9. And
Great.
I went to nationals, the national championships, when I was 12 in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I got 3rd on a podium at the national championships on a velodrome at the track. So the Major Taylor Velodrome, anyone who knows Indianapolis, Indiana, knows that the Major Taylor Velodrome is across the street from Marion University, where I went, you know, further down the line. So I asked and there was these athletes that are coming in and out on bikes that had Marion University, you know, uniforms on. So I asked my dad, I said, who are these guys? And he said, oh, those guys ride for Marion University. And I said, what's that? He goes, that's a college. And they're one of the few universities in the nation that have scholarships, athletic scholarships for cycling. And I said, huh. So as a 12-year-old,
Yep.
I made a goal and a strategy, and I manifested that I was going to be recruited by Marion. And all that meant is I developed that hustle mentality and I got the results. And when I became a junior in high school, the phone rang and it was, hey, we'd like you to come out for a visit and learn about that.
You're like, I'm already there. I'm there.
Yeah.
What time you want me to show? Because I'm there, man.
Yeah.
So just, you know,
this is 8 years later. So I have to do the same in business. So I take that same mentality in business. Hey, if I want to be somewhere, I understand it's not going to happen tomorrow. If I want to, you know, change up my path or what's happening with my career, but you have to believe in yourself, but you have to work really, really hard to get there. And the only thing that's really changed, what's changed at this age and the stage of my career is that I'm learning how to speak, or I've learned how to speak to clients more intelligently to where they look at me as a partner, not a vendor.
Got it. Dude, that adds to the magic about 5 minutes ago when we talked about, you know, the 2 ears and one mouth and listening and being that partner. That totally. Let's cross this bridge. You know, you and I, we've talked a little bit about this. Let's do it. You got a white dude right here talking to a friend of mine, right? African-American, 2 normal dudes, right? I was also a cyclist. So I know what you're living day in and day out, but man, I want to hear it from you. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to hear it from you. You know, an African-American in your profession, you know, let's talk about it. Like is it different for you? Do you think? I mean, do you view industry differently? I mean, talk to me.
So I like this because you're asking the tough questions now, and then that's the best part of not that I'm just being part of your growth with this show, this podcast, but also these topics and conversations that we're entering right now are sometimes silenced, or they don't happen. You sidestep it. So I love that you want to actually talk about this on your platform for the world.
Let me interrupt real quick. You know what's bringing me to this, dude. You know, you and I are talking. You know, we talk. I don't know, quarterly, once every 2 quarters, just to say what's up. Like, we're friends. So for no other reason. And I think the last time we were chatting, you know, this pandemic was happening, you know, and these riots were happening, and you know, unlawful arrests and shootings and just crazy stuff, right? And you and I are both sitting there, And I remember, man, I was getting a little bit emotional as well.
Yeah.
And I told you straight up, I said, listen, I'll never understand the shoes you walk in, you know what I'm saying? But I want you to know that I'm with you 100%, and we started to talk about our kids, and I got a 13-year-old son,
that.
Man. And he, and you said the same thing. You're like, man, my son doesn't see color. He doesn't see color.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He sees a fun loving, what my kid looks for is he looks for good kids. If you're a nice kid, if you're a good kid, he wants to hang around with them. That's what it really comes down to. And you kind of shared the same story with me. You're like, my kid doesn't care if you're perfect, if you're an alien and stuff. So, it's interesting.
My kids are 10 and 12 now, turning 12. And my oldest son, funny story, when my oldest son was in pre-K, what is that, 4 years old? Just before kindergarten.
Yeah.
He was at school, they do maybe a half a day and then they do a recess afterwards. And he came home and he's in the kitchen talking to my wife. And he had a crush on a girl that was in his class.
Wow.
So
You're
I'm
starting them young, Steph.
Yeah.
4 years old.
I'm listening to the conversation with my wife, and they're talking, and she asked like, well, who is this girl? What does she look like? And he goes, oh, she's purple. And so they finish the conversation. My son goes back to play in the living room or something. So I said to my wife, I said, she's purple. What does that mean?
Yeah. You guys are Googling it. You guys are
I'm like, what?
Chicago purple girl.
I'm just, and I'm just listening.
Images.
I'm not really in the conversation. So my wife says, cause she was handling the pickup at that time. And this girl's blonde hair, blue eyes, Caucasian, but she wore a purple jacket on the playground in the fall every day. So my son did not see color. He didn't see the blonde hair, blue eyes, the skin color. He just said, oh, she wears a purple jacket on the playground. Oh, Justin wears a brown jacket. And I was like, if the world could just kind of live without seeing this color, take his 4-year-old mentality and just, just not, if we just could remove the color with any of these conversations and these issues, we'd probably be in a lot better place. But that's not the case, right?
You're absolutely right. You are. You're making me think about another story that we've spoken about, and that's you going out for rides on your bicycle, and having to kind of be careful, having to kind of think about where you're going, or I don't want to get too personal here, but you talk to me about when you go out for a drive, and you're just ready, jump in.
Yeah. I mean, I have to, think whether it's personal with my family or, taking my kids to school in the car. I have to, one of the things that I do is I take my driver's license, registration, title, all that paperwork. I put it in a spot that's like immediately right next to the left of the steering wheel. That's immediately accessed, that I can take a clip and clip it onto the window. Just in case I happen to get pulled over when I'm driving my kids to school or going to the grocery store. When I'm on my bike rides, I have to think if I'm going to be by myself or if I'm going to be with a friend, which route I pick, because I know if I leave the city, the demographic changes a little bit. So I just have to kind of be a little bit aware, like, hey, if something happens to me, is anyone going to be around, or is something more likely to happen to me in this neighborhood than it is on this side of the lake. And then, even in business, you asked me early on, are things a little bit different for me? I kind of walk into these situations with a very open mind. Obviously, when you're looking at executives throughout any industry, not just tech, you don't always see people of color that are, at different levels. But for me, I try to, and part of it is my personality, because I'm kind of a very soft, low-key, chill person. But I have a very, very positive mindset. So, for example, like when I go into a high-rise building downtown and I'm going to a business meeting and I get into an elevator, this is pre-pandemic, I squeeze into an elevator with a bunch of people that I don't know. I'm the only black guy. I turn around and say hello to everyone, and I wish everyone a good day. And I see you got a bag of apples there. Did you go apple picking over in Michigan? Tell me about that. And I'm very friendly. I feel that my vibrations and my frequency and the love that I have as a human, that can kind of help, at least for the greater good, at least no matter if it's one person or 10 people.
Gospel, man, that's unbelievable.
I have to walk into every situation with a positive mindset. Otherwise, I'm just as bad as the dark side that's inflicting these horrible events that are happening.
Man,
so I don't know.
Everyone's got to be that way. Everybody's got to be that way. More people need to be that way. More people need to be that way.
Yeah. I'm a role model too. So I have to both look at, people are watching me at home. I've got my amazing wife. This family wouldn't be together without my wife. She's kind of the glue that holds us together.
They all are, man.
But my boys are watching me. My sons, they're watching everything I do. So I have to step by step, everything I do, make sure that I'm on point, because I want to raise them the right way so they can see the positive side of things, and my successes. It affects them. And then in business, you get into some of these companies. Some of them may be inclusive, some may not. Some of them may push diversity, some of them may not. But if I go in there and I'm successful and I have a positive attitude, and even if there's a bunch of, bullshit that's being slinging around, they're going to say, hey, Stephen, not only is he good at his job, he's a very positive, loving guy. Maybe we need to rehash this thing and rethink of that, versus me being an angry Stephen. That's not going to help change the narrative. So I kind of use my personality and, that vibration to change the narrative in a positive light, no matter how negative of the situation.
We talked a little bit about this, how we're going to jump around, but you got a little light bulb coming off in my head. You're seeing a lot of these articles, being written right now, media out there about, cultural, racial bias.
Mm-hmm.
Man, what's it mean to you? What does that mean to you?
I think that, when you're looking at an enterprise level or just at a business level, there's companies that they promote, oh, we have a great culture, we've got a great environment, best snacks, and come and go as you please,
foosball table,
foosball table and kegerator, and sometimes a lot of that's true. They do have a good culture, but when it comes down to real issues like what we're in right now, what we've been in, but what's being highlighted right now, they kind of dance around those issues. They kind of sidestep around those issues. No one wants to touch that uncomfortableness, or maybe they don't even care. Having a great environment and a good culture, as well as addressing, the real issues that are happening, on the ground right now. That's what's going to make a company full and body and really a really great company, like 100%. So for me, what it means to me is your culture good, and is the management style great? But are you also going to make sure that the door is always open to change the narrative?
That's great. I mean, that's great. So advice, is there any advice a guy like you who's come up in this industry could give to companies? Because by the way, I do get a lot of CEOs. I get a lot of HR people that listen to this. I get a lot of recruiters. I get a lot of salespeople.
Yeah.
But here we go. What advice would you give?
I would say, first of all, don't dance around it. You can't just ignore it or pretend like it's what's been happening for many years before I was born. Don't just be silent and pretend like it's not a thing, and continue to promote about snacks and that your company's been featured on some list of being great businesses. You have to be able to address it head on. That could include starting a committee or forums for people of color, to where there's they can kind of talk about issues or things that can going on, or they can make suggestions to the C-level and take it to an open door policy for the CEO or a COO or someone in management that can actually look and say, hey, maybe we should take a look at this closer and make a change. You know, I have the company I'm with right now with Infutor. They're through and through just great. We've got our CEO Gary. Not only is he just product knowledgeable and able to help us out, but he is very much in tune with what's going on today. And he actually, you can have his ear at any time. His door is open. You can message him.
You took the
call
words
him
right out of my mouth.
Yeah, you can call his cell. I mean, he helps me out a lot. Just outside of this, just on working on projects with clients. And it's nice to know that, and then it's not just our CEO, it's our entire management staff. They are always with us every step of the way, both business and personal. And they'll call you direct and say, hey, what's going on? Can we help you? Is there anything that we can do? Especially when what the current events that are going on that are being highlighted, they're very much in tune and kind of sincere and caring about what's going on. And that's kind of hard to find. You could, like I said earlier, it sounds like a broken record, but you can promote a good environment and a good culture, but that doesn't make your company great 100% if you're sidestepping the real issues that are going on.
Yeah, that's great, man. Committees, all that, the stuff that you just spoke about as well. Yep. On a personal note, I oftentimes ask this. You spoke about your dad getting you a bike when, I think you said when you were 8?
8.
8.
Yeah.
Who inspires you, man, in life?
Oh gosh, that's my dad was a cyclist in the New York City area, coming out of Brooklyn in the late 70s, going into the early 80s, and that's been a huge inspiration of mine. He's a blue collar guy, never had a college degree, worked a lot of sanitation roles and in factories, and he always said, I just want to give you an opportunity to be better than me. And now that I'm in the stage of life and career that I'm at right now, I'm just trying to make sure that my kids and my family have a better opportunity to be better than I was at that age. So for me personally, that's a big inspiration as well too. And then I have a lot of business mentors and athletic mentors, the relationships that I've developed over the years. What I try to do is kind of develop this invisible tool belt to where as I come across some of these business relationships and different management from companies I've worked at, I just pull a little bit over here and a little bit over here and put everything in the tool belt, and it helps me to develop a good super suit as I move through these different career phases and phases of life.
Now you are a where is it? You're an leadership circle member, development committee for the Executives Club of Chicago. Does that play a part?
Yes. The Executives Club of Chicago is awesome. It's a business networking club exclusive to Chicago, the Chicago area. And I was actually in their under 40 mentorship program. And really what it is, you have a cohort of people who are kind of, some of them in your industry, some of them are not, but you're discussing best practices, things that are going on, in the industry, at your company, personal, but you have kind of a sounding board to kind of learn from others and also to teach others, and as well as networking function. I mean, the networking opportunity is amazing at the Executive Club of Chicago as well. And they also host a lot of different forums and different type of panel discussions as well too. So it's awesome. It's been great to be a part of that over the past 5 years.
For the folks that are listening and that are not in the Chicago area, is that an independent, or is there like Execs Club of Dallas, Execs Club of New York?
They are independent, specifically to the Chicago area. I do know that there are some other markets that have similar organizations, but they're not affiliates.
Got it. You're a role model for your kids for sure, man. I love chatting with you. What advice on a personal note, life, even work, entrepreneurship, can you give some of the listeners out there just about you, man, and how the story you talked about, and being in the elevator, talking to people about apples, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. It's the
like
little things like that though, that can change someone's viewpoint of you. It sounds silly, but yeah.
So is there anything else that ties into that other than your smile and the way you treat people? I mean, I've always grown up, you try to treat people the way you want to be treated. What else do you look at?
I think part of it is also just a mindset, and that's something that's not always able to be taught at a younger age. You got to kind of develop that. Sometimes you're born with it. I was definitely born with it. When I was 12, I told myself that I was going to be recruited by Marion University on a cycling scholarship because I saw the velodrome at a race across the street, and I made that happen. So, but for me, if you have a positive mindset and you're truly able to, learn how to put out a plan in business, that's what's going to happen. We talked earlier just about, management and sales executives at some of these companies where it's go, 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 numbers, daily numbers, weekly numbers, monthly numbers. And that's kind of, you ever hear the phrase that dogs can smell fear or dogs can sense fear?
Have I ever heard it?
Yeah.
I've actually witnessed it.
Yes.
And that's how I got good at jumping over fences when I was a kid coming up.
Yeah.
I'd be the first one on the hood of the car. Boom, right up. Poop, poop.
When you take a sales executive and they're sitting across the table from a client, or on a Zoom call or Google Meets call these days from a client, that client knows if your manager has been riding your ass, day in and day out, about your numbers, because you're going to be pushing things and you don't think it in your mind, but you're going to be pushing products and pushing timelines and, pushing the edge just a little bit too much because you got to get your numbers focused. Obviously, we're all executives and we have to be numbers focused to a degree to, make the business and the pipeline flow.
Yep.
Yes. But that clients, they're going to smell it and they're going to sense it. They're going to know it. So for me, I think being able to, have this force field around me, this invisible force field, to where I know that Stephen Griffin, can complete any task and, accomplish any goal the way that I want to do it, with my mindset and being positive and not, when those the different objects are thrown at me, I stay focused to the task and make sure that I get the job done in the best way. And again, a lot of that is it's a vibration. It's a frequency of feeling that the client's going to pick up on and know, hey, he wants us to be a partner. He doesn't want to just be a vendor, because vendors, when a vendor signs a contract with you, that means that you're just throwing something against the wall, and
you're right.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, we're investing in this, we're spending money on this, but we don't know if it's going to work. When you're working with Stephen Griffin, you're a partner and it's an enhancement, which means that, hey, we know that in X amount of time, the revenue is going to increase to X. And this is a good thing for us. So it's not really an investment because we're going to see that ROI in X amount of months. So.
It's funny. I don't mean to digress here, but I was laughing out loud a little bit when we talk about the dog sense and smell and fear. What's your go-to when you're on your bicycle and a dog comes out of the woods, man? I mean, because it's happened to me, I know what my answer is going to be. You want to know what my answer is going to be?
What's that?
Don't be the weakest one in the group. Do not be the weakest one in the group. You better be strong, boy. And if you're not, don't look weak. Because they're gonna pick you out.
Yes, Justin, it hasn't happened to me in a long time, thankfully.
You got the water bottle squirt. You got the water bottle spray. That's what everybody says. Grab the water.
Yeah, the water bottle squirt. Back in the day, I'm dating myself here. Anyone who knows anything about bikes used to have a frame pump.
Oh, I was about to say the frame pump. Yep.
Yeah, you get the frame pump out and you kind of like poke at them like it's an umbrella. Nowadays the pumps are 6 inches big, so that's not going to help. Yeah, that's not going to help you. Yeah, CO2 cartridge is not going to help you.
Carbon. My little pump is carbon.
Yeah.
Trust me, I don't go out on a bicycle long enough now where I need 2 water bottles. So if anybody who cycles knows, you're supposed to drink a water bottle an hour, essentially.
Yeah.
I only got one. So that's my limit. But I have another water bottle that I cut. It's kind of my little kit. I got a tube or two in there.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Change tools and my little teeny tiny little carbon pump.
Yeah.
So that and a dollar bill folded up. Because if you ever puncture the tire with glass,
put it up in the tire. Yeah.
Put it up in the tire. That's an old school. And actually, the other thing that's in there that's holding it all together, you're going to laugh at this one, talking about dating ourselves, but a shoe strap, for the pedal, a pedal strap. So that if you break your cleat or the pedal breaks, you could just strap your foot to it and at least, get home, because you can't ride a bicycle one. That's old school. Oh yeah. That's old school. Yep. Man.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I should have asked you and didn't?
I mean, we cover a lot here. I mean, this was really,
it was fun.
Really great. Yeah, this was fun. I mean,
it's always great. Gotta be something.
Always great to talk to you. As far as me, like, looking on my next steps and my growth and development, or
anything, man. What's next? Tell me.
Yeah. I mean, all things, I know things are not looking great around the world right now when you're looking at the economy and, what's going on with the pandemic, but I've been blessed to be in a really great position with a great team of people, at a great company. Onward for me, when you're looking at the 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, that I think the next transition or the next phase, for me, is maybe working with a product or a brand that's international. Right now, we're just US based, and I think being able to work for a product that's international, and maybe where I'm working with some clients throughout Europe, or maybe a short term or even a long term relocation to Europe. Maybe in a year from now, you'll call me. I'll be in Amsterdam or something like that.
There you go, man. You lived there. Didn't you live over there early on when you were racing bicycles?
Yes, I did. Yeah, that was when I was 19 and 20. I lived there for a little bit racing.
I wish I could have been your lead out guy, man. Boy, Stephen.
I think that's the next phase for me, business wide. Just working with a product or service that's international, and having that opportunity.
You're going to get it, man. You're going to get it. You saw yourself getting a scholarship. You got it. You're seeing this now. Man, how can people connect with you? How do you want people to connect with you? I have the ability to put some links up. What's the best way for people to find you?
LinkedIn. LinkedIn is fine. I'm a private person, but LinkedIn is the best person, the best way to get in contact with me. So. Okay,
great. Yeah. Buckle up, man. You're going to start getting a lot of reach outs.
All good.
This has been unbelievable, man. I really appreciate you. You're a good friend, and thank you for coming on. I know some of this stuff. You know what, man? A lot of people wouldn't take this route, and it just goes to show, two good guys that have trust and believe in each other. It's not a problem, and it's a mindset, and it's the vision. It's the love. It's the love for being human and being a person. So
I appreciate you, first of all, having me on the show and let me be a part of your growth with this new platform that you have. That's it's kind of an honor. And then secondly, just talking a little bit about, the cultural and the racial biases. Like I said, this is a conversation that's uncomfortable most of the time, and people don't like to have it because it's uncomfortable or because they just don't really want to support it. So the fact that you're even willing to, have me come on and, kind of talk about these issues, it's just unbelievable. It says a lot about your character in a really great way. So I appreciate it.
Silence undermines engagement, man. It's got to get put out there. And I love this. I love every bit of this. And we're going to be talking again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate you, man. It's been an honor to be on the show. I love you, man. And
I love you too, buddy. I was going to say, but I know, I didn't know how you feel about that.
That's all good, man. All good.
Hey, Stephen, I appreciate it. Where's the fist bump? All right. Thank you so much. Hey, we'll talk again soon.
Okay. Thanks,
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.